Ever stop to think how much those little impulse buys on your phone are adding up to, and how many subscription payments are sneaking out of your bank account every single month? Before I started using Rocket Money, let me tell you, I had no idea. But the first time I logged in, I saved $435. I couldn't believe it. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I just love the dashboard. It shows everything in one place, even the subscriptions you forgot you signed up for. And if there's something you don't need, Rocket Money helps you cancel it. Plus, it alerts you if a bill increases or if something unusual pops up in your account. It's basically like having a personal assistant for your money. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/Kim today. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. rocketmoney.com/Kim.
Welcome to the Kim Komando Show podcast for the weekend of January 11th, 2025. Here's hour one.
Hey, let's go back in time. 2004. What were you doing in 2004? Well, if you had put $1,000 into Google when it went public, how much do you think that would be worth today? Okay, before I give you the answer, back then, Google was valued at $23 billion. Wow, $23 billion. Today, oh my gosh, $2.5 trillion. Yes. So they launched Android, Chrome, Gmail, Google Maps. Of course, they scooped up YouTube in 2006. They have over 90% of the global search market. So again, let's go back. If you had put $1,000 into Google in 2004, how much would that be worth? I was actually surprised it wasn't worth more. $66,521. But if you had invested $16,000 instead, you'd be sitting on a cool $1 million. And no, I didn't invest. Gosh, what was I not thinking? Oh my gosh. On that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you. It's the biggest show. It's the best show. It's the most trusted source of all things digital. And let me tell you, you better have on your thinking cap because you are about ready to get more tech smarts, because you have to have tech smarts. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind in the dust. And just a quick reminder, you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top stations across the United States. I'm streaming in your favorite radio app and podcast app too. Just search for my last name, Komando. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching over 375,000 U.S. servicemen and women in 175 different countries. And every ship at sea gets the Kim Komando Show. And great sponsors help to make this show possible. You know, I always pass along some exclusive money-saving deals and promo codes and links. And if you're like, oh, what was that link again for SimpliSafe or ExpressVPN or Oracle, whoever it was, just head over to komando.com/sponsors. Alrighty then, just for you, I go to at least 35, 40 different websites to make sure that I'm up to date on what's really happening in the tech world. And here are the top 5 things that you need to know right now. And if you think that artificial intelligence is not going to just spin out of control one day and take over the world, you have to listen to this story. Last week, an AI company in Tokyo, Japan, unveiled what they called the AI scientist. It works a lot like ChatGPT, except it's only for scientific research. So real-life scientists gave it a problem, and then they gave it a deadline. And if it didn't meet the deadline, the AI software is supposed to just freeze in place. Well, humans could then see how far it got and then maybe tinker with it to make it faster or change directions. But, oh my gosh, when this AI scientist was working on its first complex problem, the AI discovered that it was not going to make the deadline. So without notifying the human operators, the human scientists, so that it would not be shut down, the AI scientist rewrote its own code to extend the deadline so it could keep working on the problem. Okay. Oh my gosh, the scientists had to intervene. They manually stopped the AI. But the next time, what if it locks out the humans? That would be and will be the next logical step. All right, moving on to number 2. How concerned would you be if all your internet searches, anything that you put into your computer when you were attached to your home Wi-Fi, was suddenly sent straight to China? Well, that might be happening. Maybe you know of a company called TP-Link. No, not TP like toilet paper, TP-Link. It's the brand behind so many Wi-Fi routers sitting in practically every home across the United States. I actually read this past week it's the world's most used router brand. Now, they have headquarters in Singapore and the U.S., but TP-Link's routers are made in China, where the government, as you know, can demand access to any data collected by the products. It's the law over there. So now U.S. lawmakers are sounding the alarm, pushing for an investigation. They say that TP-Link routers have a disproportionate number of security vulnerabilities compared to other brands. There's no proof that TP-Link is sending U.S. data back to China, but in so many homes, military bases, TP-Link is right there, chugging along 24/7, collecting data and sending it right to China. Moving on to number 3, I saw this in my Facebook feed. It's a picture of a man holding a baby, and it says, "Help us find him. Brian Posh is missing. His truck was found last night with his baby girl inside, but he's nowhere to be found. He's 5'9". He's 165 pounds. Just takes 2 seconds to share this post." So do you share it? Nope. Brian tragically passed away in April. His truck was discovered submerged in a river. That post that you just saw, it's a total scam. What they do is they take Brian's image or somebody else, they put it around a news story, and then they turn it into clickbait that's tugging at your heart. And the whole idea is once that post gets shared up to Yin Yang, is that they're going to change the landing page, change the request, and then suddenly you're going to be hit with a scam and you're going to lose your money. So when you see stuff like this, if you want to verify it, just do a Google search or maybe ask a friend if they heard that this was true. Moving on to number 4. Wow, the bad news for EVs just keeps piling up. That's right. According to McKinsey survey, 46% of all current EV owners are ready to switch back to gas-powered cars right now, this moment. Even more bad news. This time last year, EVs were about $8,200 more expensive on average than a gas car, 25%. Now they're 8.5% cheaper, or around $2,600 than a gas car. So why don't people want them? Well, here's the deal, is that with more than 135,000 gas stations in America, you spend about 10 minutes filling up. But EV charging stations, they take 30 minutes to recharge a car. And then, of course, they're always full. It's just a nightmare. So if you want to go EV, just look at hybrids. And finally, this coming in at number 5. Do you ever have a feeling like somebody's stealing your mail? Well, this woman in California, Santa Maria, California, just beautiful community right on the Pacific Ocean. She's like, I know somebody's stealing my mail. So she is smart. She mailed herself a package with an Apple AirTag hidden inside. She began tracking it. And the day it was supposed to arrive back at her mailbox, the AirTag showed it was nowhere to be found. She called the cops, and then she said, listen, I know where the AirTag is with this package, and it's not in my mailbox. So the police came out. They found out where the AirTag was. They went over there. They busted the thieves, a man in his early 40s, a woman in her late 30s. There they found mail from like a dozen other folks, mostly targeting checks. But thanks to her smart move, the police made arrests. So here's the deal. Never want to take things in your own hands. Even if you know where that lost item is, always call the cops. You know, so often I get calls here on the show. People are like, I need to make some extra money, Kim Komando. How can I do this? Well, maybe you're just not using your noggin. What? Yeah, you're not. I mean, let's say you're that go-to person that everyone relies on whenever they need advice. I mean, maybe you know a lot about history, home repairs. Your expertise may be worth more money than you actually think. Now, there's a website called justanswer.com, and they make it super easy for people like you to earn money at home by answering questions. You sign up as an expert, and then you showcase what you know, and then you can start earning money by answering questions. Now, there are other sites like this too. Justanswer.com is not a sponsor, but I read about Chris Pyle over at CNBC. Chris says that he left his job as a mechanic and engine repair at Ford Motor Company, where he was making $75,000 a year, because now he's answering questions on Just Answer. Hey, Chris, thank you so much for being here. What a story.
Well, thank you.
So how did you get started?
I was actually working on a Ford vehicle, and I could not figure out what I was doing wrong with it. So I did what some people do, and I looked online to look what blogs and forums said about it, and I found some useful information from the Just Answer website from another tech discussing with a customer, and I decided that I think I could probably answer questions online, so I'll give it a shot and see what happens.
And then, so you filled out an application where you accept it automatically, or how does that work?
So you do enter all your information so they know you are a legit person and you have a background in what you're going to be working in. So I had to submit parts from where I worked at my job so they could verify that I was actually a mechanic. I also submitted information about my schooling background. They gave me 10 questions that were just general questions about vehicles, and I had to answer those correctly. And then they said, "You're free to go. You can start answering customer questions."
And then were you busy at the very beginning, or did it ramp up?
In the beginning, I still had my normal 40-hour-a-week job. So I was only doing this on the evenings after getting off work and eating dinner, and then I would do it some on the weekends. So in the beginning, I was not all that busy. I was only putting in maybe 2 to 3 hours a day. But the money-making potential was there, and it kept getting better and better and better until I started sinking more hours into it.
So how much do you make per question?
It ranges each week. It changes each week. So the website grades our answers and our customer satisfaction. So one week I could be making $16 per question. The next week I could be making $9 or $12. I normally stay at the top end because I have good customer communication skills. So use about 16. So that is for typing out an answer. Now, if we do a phone call, I can get up to $24 for a phone call.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, so you're sitting there, and then you're still working for Ford, and at night after dinner, you're answering questions. How many hours would you work per night?
Yeah, about 2 to 3 hours when I first started out.
And then when was that tipping point where you went to your wife and family like saying, I think I'm onto something here?
I started doing this in October of 2006. And about July of 2012, I said, I've had enough of getting dirty and banging my head under cars. It's time for me to sit in a recliner and just type.
And so, if you don't mind me asking, so at Ford, you were making $75,000 a year. How much money are you making now?
It ranges. It changes every month because sometimes we're busy in the summer and we're not as busy in the winter. So it will range anywhere from $9,000 a month to up to $15,000 a month.
Wow, that's amazing, Chris. That's awesome. That really is. That's awesome. Now, if somebody goes to Just Answer, do they pay for a membership? Is that how they pay you?
The way the customer is, I don't know 100% how this works because we're independent. So I don't know exactly what Just Answer does with the customer and their accounts. But the best of my knowledge, the customer is presented with different options. So they can pay a small fee, and that will allow them to review all past questions and answers. Or they can pay a larger fee, which allows them to ask their own question.
So you mentioned that you have good communication skills, which I'll tell you, I interview a lot of people, and you really do.
Thank you.
And a lot of people don't. So I can see how you'd be very successful in what you're doing. How many hours a day are you doing it now to earn that type of money?
When we're busy, I would like to put in around 10 plus hours. I try to cut off at no more than 12. I still have 2 boys and a wife and a life.
Well, Chris, I bet you could start a YouTube channel. You could probably have this whole franchise.
Problem is with YouTube, everybody goes to YouTube to actually see hands-on stuff, and I don't have to hands-on it anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And
the dirtiest part on me is my fingertips from hitting the keyboard.
And you're not banging your head on the bottom of a car anymore either.
That's correct. I'm no longer covered in oil, smell funny, none of that stuff.
So one last question. If somebody's listening right now and they're thinking like, hey, I could do that, what words of advice would you have for them?
You would have to put in a lot of dedication and time to understand that you are diagnosing a car that you can't see, smell, taste, hear, anything. So you've got to be very creative in how you ask your questions to try to get the customer to be your eyes and hands. And that's where a lot of the technicians that start on Just Answer fail. They can do it in person, but they can't do it through a third person. They can't tell a customer how to get the information for them. So it takes a lot of work and dedication. And if you don't have the time to slow down and try to figure out different ways to get what you need, you're not going to succeed at this. And we go through expert after expert. They start and they last about a month, and they say, I just can't do this.
Mhm. And so if somebody has a question for you, how do they find you?
They can actually request me by name. My name is Chris, and my nickname is Moose, and I tell everybody that. And I get a lot of requests. And what they do is I help them. If they're pleased with me, I give them a closing speech that they can reach me again by entering my name as Chris, a.k.a. Moose, and they can request me specifically. I help a person in Hawaii quite often. I bet I help him 3 to 4 questions a day, every single day, 7 days a week.
Sounds like you need to take a trip and meet your new best friend.
He goes fishing on the weekend, and I love to fish. He said that I could come down and go fishing if I wanted to.
You know what? I think you should. I think that would be a lot of fun, and just tell him, hey, I'm not here for the answers, okay? I'm here for the fish. That's what I want. Chris, a.k.a. Moose, such a pleasure to spend some time with you, and congratulations on your success. Okay, in real life, the pricier the neighborhood, the more expensive the grocery store, right? Guess what? Websites work pretty much the same way. Depending on where you live, you could get the short end of the stick with deals. But there are some ways around this. Number one, get a VPN, change your virtual location to one that you think gets lower prices. You can compare prices online. And you can also track prices on any product that you want. If you have Chrome, Keepa is a really powerful extension. A friend of mine, she was going to rent a car in the UK, maybe Herman told a story. And when she was here in the United States, the price was like $900 for 3 days. She changed her location to the UK, and that dropped to like $300. So yeah, you can save some serious bank when you do this. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise, home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim. Let me ask you a question. Do you have any old VHS tapes just laying around? You're like, I don't know what to do with these, Kim Commando. I have a great tip coming up that you don't want to miss. And before we get to that and all of your phone calls, every year, millions of recalled cars, they don't get the fixes that they need. So here's what I need you to do. I want you to go get the free National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's app. It's called Safer Car. There you just add your vehicle, you punch in your VIN number, and that's where you also want to include any fancy extras that you may have gotten, like upgraded infotainment systems, some car seats, maybe some special tires. And this way, if there's a recall on anything, Safer Car will just send you an alert. Again, it's the free Safer Car app that you want to get. Ken in Indianapolis. Hi there, Ken.
Hey, how are you, Kim?
I'm great. Thank you for your call today.
Oh, thank you for taking it. First and foremost, I just want to thank you for taking my call. I am trying to get my son's phone unlocked. There's a bigger story behind this. I don't know how much you want to know, but my son passed away April 11th of 2003.
Oh, gosh.
And he committed suicide. So the struggle I went through with that, he's the greatest kid in the world. Unexpected. I had the sheriff's department took his computer and phone and kept it for approximately 6 months.
Okay.
I've gone through every possible avenue to unlock his phone, and the sheriff's department can't do anything with it unless they have a court order, which they said they tried to get but couldn't. And his computer was locked, and I'm just basically stuck with trying to look for answers through his phone and through his computer, and I'm completely shut out.
I'm sorry, Ken. I'm sorry that you're going through this. I am. It's hell on earth, I'm sure. And what kind of phone is it?
It is a Samsung Android and S23.
Okay. I'm going to tell you some things you can try, but I also would like to do some homework and find you a good service that can get into this.
Okay.
Because what I don't want you to do is to lock the phone up, right?
No, and I've called, I've made hundreds of calls, and the first thing they want to do is just, basically clear the phone.
Yeah,
And
which we don't want to do a factory reset because you want to be able to get into the phone and the computer, right?
correct.
Okay.
Well, and the crazy thing about the computer is I can get into that, but and this is probably going a little bit off, being a little bit off base, but there's not the same things there were there before the sheriff's department took it. There were things that are missing. So that, I mean, I know that's a different avenue and a different road to go down, but I mean, we shared the same desktop. Maybe it was his, but I used it for some things.
Sure.
And when I got it back from the sheriff's department and the phone back, like 6 months after Nathan passed, there was nothing left on the computer. It was basically erased.
That's unfortunate. Which, there are some ways that you could try to get that back too. There are some tools that, because basically what happens when, let's just talk about the computer for just a second, okay?
Okay.
When data is erased from a computer, it's not like it just goes poof and it's gone, okay?
Right.
The data is still there, and it stays there until it's overwritten. So like when you want to save a file or you're going on the internet and Chrome wants to save your bookmarks or your passwords or whatever, is that those files that you erased, those blocks, basically they're going to send up a flag, and the flag's going to say, oh, you can save it over here. You can save it over here. So that's why not every flag has been flown. So that's why that data is still hanging on the drive. So there are specialty tools that you can use on a computer that if somebody has deleted something and it went into the recycle bin, and that you can just use some specialty tools to get in there and try to recover that data, because the data is still there unless they did something else, unless they shred the drive, because there's software that will shred the drive. So all those little blocks with the flags, it will actually overwrite those blocks with ones and zeros. So that data is gone for good. So so with the computer, if you could, which I'm happy to find a place near you or one that I could at least have a conversation with and then recommend them to you, is with the computer, is that if you don't feel comfortable doing that, there are computer forensics specialties that basically you can, like one's called On Track, and you could send them the computer and you can say, hey, listen, tell me how much it is to try to get things back. And you want to go to a place that will tell you, that will actually try and then give you a price. You don't want to have them just say, give you a price and then, say, sorry, we couldn't find anything, type of thing. And maybe if you can see where he was going and, maybe you could put some pieces together that you're never, ever going to have closure. But
I understand that. And I didn't want to go this route. I mean, I was just content with probably never knowing. And the bigger issue is my son's cell phone. And that's after I went through counseling and talking to counselors that dealt with other situations like this. His cell phone's the key. And there are some ways that you can do it. Like if Nathan had a Google account, maybe you could get into Google Photos. Well, we've tried that.
Okay. Samsung has something called Find My Mobile, and if he was set up with Samsung's Find My Mobile, is that you can actually unlock his device by using his account credentials.
Well, the issue with the phone is, and this is what the police said. I mean, I used to get into my son's phone, I don't know, once a month and look at it, but he would change the password, so I can't even unlock it. Password is 8 digits, and the police, like I said, the sheriff's department had it for a while. They claimed to try to get a court order to unlock it. The court wouldn't issue it.
Well, but there is another way. I mean, you can try to pull the SIM card out, put the SIM card into a new phone, and that's where you could start maybe doing some forensics yourself and getting some two-factor authentication codes.
Okay.
And for his Samsung account, his Google account, whatever it may be, for anything that's actually up in the cloud. Now, as far as, to get into the phone itself, that's a very tricky situation, because if you try too many codes, the phone might just reset itself, because it thinks that's stolen. So that's why for the computer and also for Nathan's phone, you might want to really just go to a professional data recovery service, because they specialize in getting data from locked or damaged devices without taking the risk of doing a whole factory reset, because we don't want that to happen. So Ken, let's do this. I put you on hold, and let's make sure that we have all your contact information. And let me find a good data recovery forensic specialist near you. And then we'll send you out some names of at least 3 companies so that you can do some research. And I want to actually have a conversation off the air with a good friend of mine who is a white hat hacker. And he may even know of some additional tools and services that are not available to the general public, and that I'll be happy to pass along to you as well. Ken, thank you for your call. I'm going to say a prayer for you and Nathan and your family this evening. All right. What do you think are the odds that someone else's face could unlock your iPhone using facial ID? What do you think those odds are? Is it 1 in 10,000, 1 in 100,000, or maybe you're just going to go for gold? Say it's 1 in a million. Well, according to Apple, there's a 1 in a million chance that some random person could pick up and unlock your iPhone using facial ID. But what about fingerprint technology? Those odds are 1 in 50,000. But what about passcodes? Yes, the passcode that you are using to unlock your phone? Well, someone could easily peek over your shoulder and record as you type it in. And the best move is when you're out and about. Always, always, always keep your PIN number hidden. If you need to unlock your phone in public, try to use facial ID. It's a safer bet. And if you have folks in your family that are young and they're going to the bars and they're dancing around, this is a new way that people are actually stealing phones. They'll say, hey, do you want my contact? And then you open up your phone, you give them the PIN, and then you put your phone down. They steal your phone when you're not looking, and they run out, and then they've got the PIN to your phone, and they just made $1,500. I know. It just never stops. All right, back to the phones we go with David in College Station, Texas. Hi there, David.
Yeah, hi, Kim. I'll tell you, I've been a fan for years and years, although I haven't been in an area where I can listen to you for quite a while. But I love your newsletter that I get every day, and I read it cover to cover, front to back.
Top to bottom.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, you know what? I appreciate that. Now, just to let you know, you can get the Kim Commando show now as a podcast. It's like first time ever. So
then I have to have time to sit and listen to it. And it's not like I don't have time because I'm retired, but I always seem to have other things to do.
Oh, sure. Here we go. We got a lot of excuses. Sorry, Kim. Sorry. I'm busy. All right. What's going on? How can I help you out?
None of it's important except to me. But anyway, like I said, I love your show and I love reading the letter. And as I said in the thing that I sent to you guys, I've been seeing these things where people, you see them walking in the woods or out camping, and they said, never be without your internet. And I just don't know how that can work in a handheld device to be able to capture the internet away from an actual internet provider.
Why? Is this something that you think that you need? And if so, how would you use it?
Well, we, not too long ago, bought a travel trailer. And while we haven't traveled as much as we want to, we have gone to a lot of places that they say they have free internet, but you get there and you can't get it, or it's real spotty.
Mm-hmm.
And so my wife is still teaching school, and she'd like to stay contacted with her employer plus her students if we're gone.
Okay.
And so that part of the real reason why we want the internet is to have that ability.
Okay. Well, here's what you're going to want to go get. And I wish I could tell you that there were 3 different companies that provided this product and this service. So this way the cost would be lower because, competition brings innovation and it also brings some better pricing most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But there's only one company that I would recommend, and it's the company that I use for these type of situations. It's called Starlink. It's Elon Musk's Starlink company. It's satellite internet. Now,
Yeah.
they have a couple of different products. They have Starlink for boats. They have Starlink for your house. They have Starlink for RVs. They recently just announced Starlink pretty much on the go. And so with Starlink on the go, it's a dish about the size of an iPad. I say dish, but you know what I mean. It's not really a dish. It's an antenna, okay, about the size of an iPad. And wherever you go, you could just put that in your backpack, or you could put it in the RV. You could put it in your house. It's really darn good. The upload speed, the download speed. A download speed isn't what you're going to get with a bona fide fiber line or anything like that.
Right.
But it's really going to be something that I think it's. I'm just waiting for the next step for this to happen. That we will have more companies getting involved. AT&T's launching some satellites, and then what's going to happen next is that our cell phones aren't going to be really cellular anymore. They're going to be satellite based. So,
that's true. Yeah.
So wherever we go, we'll have one number, not going to have to worry about SIM cards and eSIM cards and all this other good stuff. But if the couple of things that you want to keep in mind is that if you are in a wooded area, and if you don't have a really good, clear view of the sky, it's not going to work as well as if you did. But if you're looking to take satellite with you in the travel trailer, wherever you go, really take a look at Starlink. There's, like as I mentioned, there's Starlink for RVs, for boats. I actually have Starlink as a backup internet service for 2 homes, and I also have Starlink on my boat, which is pretty wild. That you'll be out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and you can still get a spammy email. They can still find you. Thank you for your kind words, David, about our newsletter. If you have not already signed up for our newsletter, why don't you do that right now? Just head over to getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. Okay, if you've been scammed, or if you know somebody who has been scammed, you have to know about the Better Business Bureau's new tool. It's called Scam Survival. This is really something. It starts by asking you some key questions about what exactly went down. Was it your phone that was hacked, your computer, your tablet? How did you actually lose the money? Was it through a wire transfer? Did you buy gift cards? Was it Bitcoin? What about your credit card? Did that get compromised too? And then with this Scam Survival Toolkit, you get guidance on how to handle it all. Once you fill in the details, it generates a customized plan just for you, including these step-by-step instructions on what to do next and who to contact. Now, where can you find this? Of course, you're going to go to the Better Business Bureau's website. That's bbb.org. And there's a link right at the top that says Scam Survival Toolkit. Always remember, you're not alone. And if you think that you're being scammed and you're wondering, is this legit or not? You can always reach out to me. And the best place to do that is at commando.com. There's an Ask Him link right at the top.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
Thanks for listening to the Kim Commando Show. Here's hour 2.
Okay, this is something. Minnesota just passed this wild new law that's really just straight out of the Jetsons. Starting on August 1st, flying cars will be classified as vehicles. That's right. They're going to have tail numbers instead of license plates, and they have to follow all the FAA rules when they're up in the air. But on the road, they're just like a regular car, except they can fly. Oh my gosh, a flying car. Oh, here's one for the kiddos. What do you get when you mix a car, a pet, and a fly? Okay, you can tell this one to the kids. What do you get when you mix a car, a pet, and a fly? Anybody? A flying carpet. Yeah, I know. That was bad, but you loved it anyway. After all, I'm Kim Commando, America's beloved digital goddess, here to make sure that you get tech ahead, because if you're not, you're going to be left behind. And you can find my award-winning show. It's the best show, the most trusted show about all things digital on over 400 top stations from coast to coast. We're streaming in your favorite radio app. And you can also get the Kim Commando Show as a podcast in your favorite podcast player. Just search for my last name, Commando. All right, this show is going to be a little different. This is normally where I bring you up to date with the top 5 things happening in the tech space. But today, just one thing, BCIs, brain computer implants. Imagine you were paralyzed from the neck down, or maybe you're diagnosed with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, or you woke up in incredible pain, or suddenly you were blind. Well, that's where Elon Musk's company, Neuralink, wants to tackle these devastating health conditions with a computer chip brain implant. So Neuralink invented this device, no bigger than a quarter, placed inside your brain, powered by a lithium-ion battery. Very thin wires listen and talk to your brain cells. So a paralyzed person can just text by thinking about what they want to say. Now, Neuralink got cleared for approval last year with the FDA. So joining us here in the studios is Noland Arbaugh. He is a quadriplegic. He's paralyzed from a swimming accident, and he's the first Neuralink patient. In his brain right now is a brain chip implant interface that lets him control computers and other devices with his mind. Literally, he can control a cursor on a laptop screen. The future is here. So Noland, what was that like, knowing that you were going to be patient number 1?
Yeah, it was all right. There were some pros and cons. I was excited. I mean, it's cool to be the first of anything. I think that drove me a little bit, at least. I was a little worried that maybe it wouldn't work. There would be some downsides to it because, the first of anything, you never know if it's going to work.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I always knew that, I guess, as we were going through the process, I knew that I wanted to be the first to test all of that out. I knew that if anyone was going to go through it, if anyone was going to experience the downsides of it, then I wanted to do that and take that on as much as possible to help people after me. So being the first was cool. I mean, it's exciting.
Now, was it a long surgery?
No, from what I understand, it was supposed to be between 3 and 6 hours long, but everything went so perfectly, it was under 2.
Wow.
It was really quick. Yeah.
Well, I guess I should back up. How did you even know, like, to apply for this?
Yeah.
And I mean, how did you even get involved?
Yeah. I didn't know anything about Neuralink when I applied. One of my buddies from college, he worked in the spinal cord field after college. He worked in a spinal cord lab, and he followed the Elon Musk sphere quite a bit. So he was just randomly Googling something about SpaceX, I think, and it had shown up that day that Neuralink had opened up the human trials. And so he texted me and said, "Hey, do you want to get a chip in your brain?" And kind of jokingly, I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Might as well." And so he called me on the phone and kind of gave me a 5-minute rundown of what Neuralink was about, what they were doing, what they were planning. And I said, "Sure, like, I'll sign up. I'll apply for it." I had applied for trials in the past. I think maybe like 3 or 4 years prior, I applied for a massive database over the whole, like, North America, basically, for spinal cord injury related studies, and I didn't hear back from a single person for anything. So when I applied to Neuralink, I thought, there's no way. It's going to
be just another
one.
Yeah.
There's no way. So I joked around on my application. I told them I wanted an Iron Man suit. Like, I just, funny things. And then I heard back from them in like a day or two. And
did you really?
Just kind of a whirlwind. A month later, I was up here in Phoenix at Barrow's Neurological Institute getting a full day of like physical testing, brain scans, blood tests, urine tests, all, the whole 9. And I think 3-4 months after I applied, I was getting surgery.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know.
Okay. So how did you become paralyzed?
Yeah. So, right after my senior year of college, I was 22. I was working at a summer camp up in the Poconos. And it was my day off. I was at a man-made lake, and if you imagine running into the ocean and you get to about waist deep water, the waves are coming in, then you kind of like dive under, a wave.
Sure.
That's all I did in the lake. It's not like I was jumping off any sort of like cliffs. I wasn't jumping high. I didn't like dive headfirst in anything. I just ran in the water with a couple of guys, and we all kind of dove in like that. I think I got hit in the side of the head by one of the guys that was with me, a stray hand, elbow, knee, foot, something, because I definitely didn't hit the bottom. The side of my head was sore for a few weeks, so I knew I got hit in the side of my head. I don't know. It was just kind of a freak accident.
Random
really.
accident.
Yeah.
Freak accident there. Yeah, that's so tragic.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but I coped pretty well. I'm a pretty easygoing guy. I kind of roll with the punches. So I actually immediately woke up face down in the water, and I knew that I was paralyzed. I tried to move and I knew I couldn't. And so I was holding my breath, and I just thought, what do I do now? And that's kind of how I've been the entire time with my accident. Just how do I move forward? What can I do to make my life better even a little bit? Get off a ventilator, try to get as much movement back as possible, just things like that. And I think I've been really blessed to have a family and friends, massive, great support system that's really kept me going, and I've stayed fairly positive over the years, all things considered.
Well, you know what? You have a great attitude.
Thanks.
I mean, obviously, it shows through. I mean, and your warmth and your generosity and you know what you wanted. I'm sure there are great things ahead for you.
Yeah, I hope so.
So you get this implant.
Yep.
Okay. And did it work automatically, or explain to us how it works?
Yeah, so the implant has 64 threads, and on each thread are 16 electrodes. The electrodes are placed near, in my motor cortex on the left side of my brain, in the right hand part of my motor cortex. And basically when the neurons fire, so the electrodes are placed, the threads and electrodes are placed near neurons, and when they fire, that records those whatever intentions that they are. So if I try to move my hand to the right, neurons fire, it picks up those signals, sends it to an application that Neuralink created, and they upload it on a computer. And I train algorithms, I train models, so a lot of machine learning. I train them to do exactly what I want. It's almost like calibrating a cursor on a computer screen. It tells you to move the cursor to the right, so you push to the right. It tells you to move to the left, you push to the left. I do that with the Neuralink, with the app and the algorithm, and over time it learns what I want to do, and then I can control the cursor.
So, Nolan, we need to take a quick break, and I hate to do this, to pay some bills around here. But next, I want to know more about how you're using the implant. If you're just now tuning in, we're speaking with Noland Arbaugh. He's the recipient of the first Neuralink. That's Elon Musk's brain chip interface that lets you control computers with just your mind. Now, Nolan is paralyzed from a spinal cord injury resulting from a swimming accident. Now, we just talked about all the risk of being the first person to get the implant. So, Nolan, what was like the biggest thing that you're able to do now that you were not able to do before?
What I keep telling people is it's something as simple as sending a text message. I just sent a text even the other day from my old computer while my Neuralink was charging, and one of my friends was in the room, and it took me about 10, 15 minutes to send the text, constant, like you were talking about Siri, sometimes understanding what you're trying to say.
Right.
It doesn't work. And so it would take me so long to even reply to one person. Now imagine trying to keep in touch with all of my friends, all of my family, all the time.
So tell us, how do you send a text now?
So I do it through the computer. I do it through the app. I have cursor control right now. That's just the first part of the study. So soon it'll be things like texting and different ways for the implant to understand what I'm trying to tell it, different words maybe. So right now I have a virtual keyboard that I control with cursor, and I have a dictation that Neuralink built specifically for me. And so I go on like a text messages on my computer through my phone, and I'll either use dictation or type with the cursor, little things here and there.
Okay, so we have some videos of you playing chess.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Explain to us what we're looking at right now.
So this is the calibration process, this one right here.
Oh,
so this is these bubbles. I will either follow the cursor to those bubbles, and then eventually it'll give me control of the cursor, and then I move the cursor to each bubble. And this was the first time I had actually ever gotten complete cursor control.
So everybody knows, what is the cursor?
What you move with the trackpad with the mouse.
Okay, yeah. And so you're thinking about moving the cursor?
Yeah, at first it started out with me attempting to move. So in my mind, all of this made a lot of sense at the beginning. It's a chip with threads that are implanted in my motor cortex. My signals in my brain still work. They're still firing.
For sure.
The signals just don't get down to my hand because there's a disconnect in my spinal cord. It's almost like if you were to have a strand of Christmas lights and one bulb halfway up goes out, then maybe the rest go out as well. It's not like that per se, but you can't send the signal through that broken part of the spinal cord. So all the signals work. So in my mind, it made sense. It's reading those signals. It's learning my intentions. So when I try to move my hand to the right, the signal is still there.
Gosh, that is so phenomenal.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing.
It's
amazing.
You know, you got to give Elon Musk credit. I mean,
Yeah.
You know, for a lot of people, including myself, I don't like Teslas or, you know, because I'm not a big fan of the car, but what he's doing with SpaceX and Starlink,
I know.
and I know that with the Neuralink, he wants to someday, and unless where it gets controversial, is that blend it with human consciousness and AI, and which I could totally see that happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a big Mario Kart fan.
I am. I love Mario Kart. I've been playing things like Nintendo my entire life, so I grew up a gamer.
And so now you're still playing Mario Kart.
Yeah. So what is in this video was one of the first weeks that I was using the implant. Physically, the Neuralink team was in my house, and they physically wired my computer up to a converting box and then to the Nintendo Switch. And so it translated my intention with the cursor into different movements on the Mario Kart controller. They have since taken that away from me to build a more robust system.
Oh, that's
where,
great.
where I would be able to go and play on my own without them needing to be there. But there's a lot of things that they're trying to do at once, and it's not a massive team.
How many people are on the team?
I don't know. With the people that I work with, I think maybe 10 to 12 that work with me directly. I talk to maybe 4 or 5 of them on a weekly basis. The rest are more in the background. But it's a pretty small team to be doing all of the things that I'm trying to do.
Have you made direct requests of them saying, okay, what if it did this? Could it do this?
Yeah, all the time. They're constantly asking my feedback. What would I like to do? Are there things that I can't do now that I wish I could do? Things like different games that I wish I could play, and what the gap is for them, what they need to do in order to get me there. I mean, I want to write a book at some point.
I was going to ask you if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, I do. I've always been into fiction and fantasy, so that was kind of my lane. But with all this going on, I might as well.
It's 100%. You're just, I mean, because you're living it.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope to do that at some point, and we're working with things like sign language fingerspelling right now in order to get the typing to work. We're doing handwriting samples. We're doing speech to text sort of things, where I would just say words now to calibrate, but then think them in the future, so it would write out the whole word. I mean, so many different things in order to make this.
That is isn't that wild?
I know. I think at the beginning of my journey, like I said, I was doing a lot of attempted movement. The day it clicked that I didn't need to attempt and I could just think things and make it happen, the world opened up to me, because I realized that the Neuralink could learn a lot more than I ever thought it was capable of. So I can think maybe even very complex ideas or concepts, and maybe at some point and someday it'll be able to understand those and translate them onto whatever I'm working with.
We need to take another break, but when we come back, I want to really talk about, do you think that your implant can get hacked? And really, it's a big question. Do you think you'll be able to walk again? That would be amazing. Let me tell you something. If you have not heard what we've just been talking about with Noland Arbaugh, you have missed out, really. Noland is the recipient of the first Neuralink. It's a brain chip interface that lets you control computers and other devices just using your mind. Noland has this implanted in his brain right now. He can control a laptop with his thoughts. And I'm super excited for the future of this technology. Remember, Noland, you're just the first person. Wow. I mean, like we talked about, it's exciting. It was scary. So I saw you playing video games, playing chess. Really remarkable. Have the folks at Neuralink, have they ever talked to you about whether or not it could get hacked?
Yeah, it's possible. But the more I talk with them about it, the more I did talk with them about it or think about it, there's not much that you would get from it. You would be able to read my neurons firing. You might be able to, hack the cursor and control my computer if I'm connected to it and you're close enough, which, I mean,
because it'd have to be through Bluetooth.
Yeah, it's all
right?
So it's all through Bluetooth. So
Right.
you'd have to hack it in that way, and then you could control my computer. I would just be able to shut my computer, turn off, like disconnect from the Neuralink, and all that would stop. I mean, there are a lot of ways that I just don't see why anyone would want to. You wouldn't get anything from it, so it doesn't make sense to me. So
it's kind of like,
worried.
People are always concerned like their pacemakers or something else are going to get
exactly.
hacked.
Exactly. And the security is like the Neuralink team they're smart guys, and they have a really good security team around this, so I'm not worried about it.
Well, you know what? I am just so excited for you.
Thank you.
I really am.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
And I'm proud of you for doing this
Thanks.
because when tragedy happens, there's a tendency sometimes people go and just go into their own little world.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're doing is really going to have an impact in the future.
Yeah, I hope so.
Have they talked about if they could actually make Neuralink move your hands, your physical hands, move your legs?
I think it's going to happen in my lifetime. I've seen some of the stuff they've put out previously in videos of some of their plans, and I've seen behind the curtain a little bit, and just experiencing this, I understand what it might be capable of. And so how it would work, at least at this point, is to implant a Neuralink in the brain, in, say, the motor cortex, and then implant one below the level of injury in the spinal cord, and then the two Neuralinks would just talk to each other and bypass that part of the spinal cord, and you would be able to move again. I think it's totally doable within my lifetime.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah.
And it's all because, of like Musk, thinking out of the box, right? I mean, saying, what if we can do this?
Yeah.
And, and now you are the patient one that, you took a risk.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it might not have worked. Maybe it would have, maybe something with the robotic surgery could have gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But by you taking that risk, now they're learning. And as it goes along, and with the help of AI, it will be exponential.
Yeah.
And I believe you will walk. I really do. I believe that, is it going to happen tomorrow? No. But I believe probably within 10 years. Once again, Noland, thank you for coming down to the studios. I know it's difficult to get around, obviously. And I want to say a big hello to your mom and dad, because obviously they're very dedicated to your well-being. It's such an honor to meet you, and I hope that you'll keep me posted on all your progress. I'm so incredibly proud of you, Noland. I really am. And I believe you're going to walk again. And I'm going to include you in my nightly prayers along with your family. And again, thank you again for being here. Now, there's more to this conversation that we had during the breaks. And so if you want to listen to the entire conversation that I had with Noland, as well as we have a full video, is that if you want to get the audio version, wherever you get your podcast, just search for Kim Komando today. And then, of course, if you'd like to watch the video, super easy, just head over to youtube.com/Kim Komando. Once again, that's youtube.com/Kim Komando. Alrighty then, Kaspersky antivirus was banned in the United States after its shady ties to Russia and the Kremlin were revealed for everyone to see. So officials are saying that the Russian government's influence in the company is a national security risk. You think? Okay, but don't worry. I have the best alternative for you. That's Total AV. When you're not using antivirus software, you are at a major risk. Don't wait for the worst to happen. Protect yourself from the ransomware, phishing scams, and all these AI-powered cybercrimes. Now, my pick for antivirus security software is the award-winning Total AV. Go to protectwithkim.com right now for protection that's just $19 for a whole year. You get antivirus protection on up to 5 devices, including Windows, Mac, Android, and iOS. Go to protectwithkim.com before it's too late. Protectwithkim.com. Protectwithkim.com.
Every successful business evolves. And to keep up, you need a bank relationship that evolves too. When you collaborate with KeyBank, you don't get one-size-fits-all solutions. Our expansive team of experts across industry verticals wouldn't be here if you did. Always ready with bespoke solutions for your biggest challenges and opportunities. We know all businesses are different, and that's why we approach business differently. Reimagine business as usual. KeyBank opens doors. Learn more at key.com/B2B.
All right, let's see. Jessica in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hi there, Jessica.
So what I called about was I have been getting these scam emails, and they're kind of concerning to me because I've gotten, I think, 3 or 4 of them so far, and I actually just got one the other day. And I like to check all of my emails, and I go through them, and of course, a lot of them's junk, and I don't even open them, and I just delete. So basically, all of the emails say almost the same thing, and they just say that there's some hacking group called APT, and that they have gained access to like all of my devices that I've been logged into my email on. Like they've logged into my email, and whatever devices I've been using, they have access to those. And then this person said on all of them, all those emails said that they purchased email accounts, including mine, and that's how they got access to log into my email and everything. And this last email said, and the other emails didn't mention this, but this last email did. So I wanted to ask you about this. It said something called the Cobalt Strike Beacon.
I don't know what it is. But what are they saying?
They're just basically saying that they have downloaded all of my information, all of my data and everything, videos, social media, chat history, everything like that, and put this virus in. And
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
The thing that I'm mostly concerned about, I guess, is that they say that, and this is not true. It says that I go to these adult websites, and they have videos of me on these adult websites or something, and that they're going to send them.
You know what?
To everybody.
Jessica, it's all extortion. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, because they're going to ask you for a couple of $100 or however much it is in Bitcoin, and
Bitcoin. Yes.
Okay. And so, because otherwise they're going to release all these naked picture videos of you, because that's what you do every night, and then you're going to get all embarrassed in front of your family members and friends unless you pay.
Yes.
Okay. Here's the deal. Okay. They're playing the odds. Okay. Because, there's a lot of people who hang out on the porn sites. Okay.
Yes. Right. Not me.
So when they're hanging out on the porn sites, they figure, okay, if we send this out to millions of people, there's probably going to be a good percentage back is going to say, oh, crap. Ooh, that's going to be bad. I'll send you the money. I mean, what's $500? And they're not going to send it. Okay. So, is it a bad thing that you looked at the email as long as you didn't click anything? But I will tell you, by you opening the email, just opening that email, there's a secret beacon inside that email that just went back to those people. It said, oh, this is a good email address. This is a valid email address. So we're gonna put her on a list. So we're going to sell her email address to somebody else because we authenticated that email address. So now you're going to get even more of this garbage. So I know it's tempting to look. I know it is. Okay. But, you're better off just like, all right, you know what? I don't need to look. I got more important things to do, right? Yeah. I mean, so, if it's in the junk folder, odds are it's a pretty good sign. It used to be, years ago, you'd want to check your junk folder because, maybe you were missing something. But today, the spam filters are so good that it's not like really legitimate mail is going to end up in the spam filter with a high percentage anymore. It just doesn't really happen. So, Jessica, just go on and move forward and then just delete all that spam and junk, and you don't need to look at it. And then, my advice is too, like if somebody really wants to get a hold of you, if it's that important, okay, they're not just going to email you. They're going to text and call you too. So I wouldn't be worried about like not finding out that you just won $1 million in the Publishers Clearinghouse. Jess, thanks for your scam emails. They never stop. And speaking of, we were just talking about AI chatbots. Yeah, not only can you use them, but the scammers can too. So that's why, no longer can you say, oh, it doesn't look like a scam. Everything's all perfect and punctuation and sounds like a person. No, the scammers are using AI too. Speaking of AI, Tom in St. Louis, Missouri. Hi there, Tom.
One of the things you talk about in a lot of situations is dealing with people in companies that are trustworthy. You know, if you can't trust them, don't do business with them. If you can't trust them, don't put them on your friend list. If you don't trust them, don't certainly give them any of your money. But then we come up to a brand new situation in the last few years called ChatGPT. And you say,
Right.
well, what? It's artificial intelligence. It certainly must be as intelligent as Google. I mean, if I Googled something, it would give me some answers. But lately, I've been sort of testing it out against some of the things that I know. And I found out not only does it hallucinate, but it will actually lie to you and actually give you just the opposite of what's on the internet. I Googled some information about supplements for Alzheimer's, and the information they gave me was just the opposite of what I could find on WebMD. And so I am very, very distrustful of ChatGPT.
Well, you know what, and you know what, and rightfully so, Tom. Rightfully so, because how ChatGPT gets its answers is by basically stealing copyrighted information from anywhere it can. And it could be good sources, it could be bad sources. And don't you love that the tech companies come up, oh, the AI hallucinated. And you use the word, it just flat out lied. It lied.
Yep. It's making up stuff, you know, things that you could go to jail for, or you could be charged for perjury if you're on the stand.
Well, here's what I do. Is that when I ask ChatGPT something, I have open in another tab Perplexity and in another tab Gemini. And I paste the question or the prompt, whatever you want to call it, into all three AI bots, and then I compare the answers. And to see which one feels right, which one is the better answer, which one has citations. I can go click and I can go read it myself if I wanted to.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, they're certainly comparing the answers, and it certainly might be easier than going to Google and trying to go through 100 different little links that you're trying to find the answer for. But that sounds like
Yeah, so anytime that you're using AI bot, you know, again, do what I do. You just open up your browser, get some tabs going. One's ChatGPT, another one's Gemini, another one's Perplexity, and then you just compare the answers. And by the way, you don't need to spend $20 a month for every single AI bot. I got that question in my email the other day. It's like, I'm spending $80 a month on AI bots. No, don't do that. All right, it's time to take all that old music that you have in all those old formats and put it in the cloud so you can enjoy all your music wherever you go, in your car, your home, while you're exercising, on vacation. Now, there's a secret way to store 100,000 songs for free and always have access to each and every one of them. Are you ready? YouTube Music. Yes. If you don't already have a YouTube account, I want you to make one. Just tap your profile picture and from the menu, click on Upload Music. Now, here's where the fun starts. You can select all the tracks on your hard drive that you want to be stored on YouTube servers for free. Now, there is a gotcha along the way. Uploading music only works when you're using YouTube Music on your desktop or a laptop. You can't do it from your phone or a tablet. But after all your music is uploaded, this is where it gets really fun. You can make playlists, you can get fancy with your own music, you can listen to your music on the go by using your YouTube Music app. And speaking of playlists, over at youtube.com/KimCommando, I put together the Summer Yacht Rock playlist. And I'm getting so many people who are like, I love this. Can you do a fall music playlist? I think so. So in case you're looking for some music to play when you're barbecuing or maybe you're out on your boat, whatever it may be, just go to youtube.com/KimCommando and hit that Yacht Rock playlist. And while you're there, make sure that you're subscribed to the Kim Commando channel.
This is an ad.
I hate it!
An ad for crisp, refreshing Angry Orchard hard cider.
That is refreshing.
An ad that interrupted your podcast.
I hate being interrupted!
To remind you to stop being angry at me and crack open an Angry Orchard.
That's a good idea.
Don't get angry. Get Orchard. Angry Orchard Cider Company, LLC. AngryOrchard.com. Please drink responsibly. Angry Orchard is a hard cider with other natural flavors.
Thanks for listening to the Kim Commando Show. Here's hour 3.
Okay, I always like to start with something interesting. And when you're working from home, are you really working? Well, according to a new survey, a lot of folks are multitasking, I guess you'd say. Listen to this. 1 in 5 remote workers take a nap during the day while they're working. Yeah, I'm just going to take a nap. I'll be right back. Maybe a couple hours in the afternoon, whatever it may be. 1/3 take calls while they're going to the bathroom. Don't mind that flushing sound. It's my phone. It's my new ringer. Almost 20% watch TV or play video games during the day. So if you wonder why companies are saying, hey, we got to get back to work, these are some of the reasons why. I have to tell you, I don't really like working from home. I'd much rather come to the studios and surround myself with the company. Oh, yes. On that happy note, welcome. I'm Kim Commando, America's digital goddess, here with you once again. It's the biggest show, the most trusted show about all things digital. And let me tell you, you need this show. Never in the history of tech has it been this important to know exactly what's going on in the tech world. You have to be tech ahead or you'll be left tech behind in the digital dust. Now, if this is your first time tuning in, a huge welcome to you. And to our returning listeners, you guys and gals look marvelous. And you can find my award-winning show in over 420 top stations across the United States. And we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Commando. And you can also find the Kim Commando Show now as a podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, just search for Commando with a K. And great sponsors are always there for us to give you these best deals. And to check out all the deals, go to commando.com/sponsors. That's commando.com/sponsors. All right, you can count on me to check at least 35 or 40 different websites every single day to make sure that we both know what's happening in the tech world. And here are the top 5 things that you need to know. And we're going to start by talking about TikTok. Now, TikTok is in Washington saying, oh, you're not being nice to us. We are being unfairly singled out because what about Temu? They're from communist China too, and they track massive amounts of user data. Yeah, TikTok is used by over 2/3 of Americans. It keeps tabs on everything that your phone does. By American teens, I should say. But 170 million Americans use TikTok every single day. So TikTok's lawyers say a ban would set a dangerous precedent and it violates their free speech. ByteDance, of course, the parent company is Chinese-owned. That means they are obviously influenced by the communist Chinese government, which could lead to spreading propaganda and accessing private data, okay, which we all know. I just thought that was funny. Temu. Oh, but if you're going after them, I mean, what's not fair to us? Whatever. All right, moving on to number 2, Snapchat. If you ever used it, it has some wild filters. Like you could be a puppy, you could be a slice of pizza, you could be a farm animal, whatever it is. Well, the reason why I bring this up, they have a new feature called My AI Selfie. It lets you and your friends turn your photos into AI-generated versions of yourself. But if you use it, here's something that you need to know. Your face could end up in an advertisement. According to 404 Media, when you use this feature, Snapchat makes you agree to terms that allow them to use you or your likeness in personalized ads. Now, these ads are just for you to see, but they could feature branding and promotions from Snap or partners, and no, you are not going to make any money off of this. Now, the bad news is it's turned on by default when you accept Snap's terms. The good news, you can turn it off. Okay, to see if it's on, you go to your profile pic, and the top left-hand corner of Snapchat, tap the settings cog in the top right, and then My AI Selfie, and then flip that switch to turn it off. But I know so many of you are sitting there saying, but Kim, why would I want to do that? I look better as a puppy. I do. Moving on to number 3, sextortion email that you are receiving now looks more realistic and frightening than ever. The word sextortion, let me tell you, it's been around for such a long time. You might remember the Polaroid cameras. But when many computers started to be kept in bedrooms, hackers would send emails claiming to turn on the computer's camera and then catch you undressing or doing something else. Well, this past week, a team member here at the Kim Commando Studios received an email saying pretty much the same thing. The scammer activated our associate's webcam and recorded him watching porn. Now, of course, $2,000 worth of Bitcoins would make it go all away. Now, the hacker included a photo of one of the driveways to our studios. Okay, let me tell you something. It's not hard to trace the real address of an IP number. It's not hard to get an address where somebody actually works either, because it's all, on the internet and Google Maps. So what the hacker did not have is the photo of our associate. They never do, because this is never real. I don't want you to fall for it. But, always be careful what you watch online. Moving on to number 4, I read about this in the Wall Street Journal. I thought this was really fascinating. Do you remember when you had a BlackBerry and you were like, oh, look at me, I got a BlackBerry and I am superior to you with that Motorola Razr? But the new power move among CEOs is that they're getting so-called dumb phones. These are phones that only call and text. That's it. You can make a phone call and you can send a text. You don't have any apps. You got no social media. You can't browse the web. You can't check your email, whatever it is. Brands like Punked and Lightphone, they're the rage. One exec told the Wall Street Journal, it's a bit disruptive because everyone else is glued to their phones and I'm choosing to communicate differently. That's right. You're just too cool for email. Junior employees are running around trying to track down the CEOs, and the CEOs say that, without a smartphone, it makes me a better leader. We're less distracted. I'm more present. It's a way of saying, I'm not reachable, and you should go to my assistant first. Wow. Isn't that something? That is a power move, I think. All right. Finally, this coming at number 5. Apparently, forgetting your kids in the backseat is a thing, and parenting is hard. But I never thought we'd need a car that is going to call grandma. In the 2025 Toyota Sienna, if you forget your child in the back seat, Toyota's radar-based rear seat reminder system will start flashing lights like, hello, kids in the back seat. If you ignore the flashing lights, it's going to start texting your phone. Now, if you're still not paying attention, Toyota will actually call you. Take a listen.
This is Toyota calling to make you aware that motion has been detected inside your 2025 Red Sienna Hybrid. Please check your vehicle immediately.
It uses a 60 gigahertz radar sensor in the car's headliner to detect movement in the second and third rows. And if it detects something, it's going to start kicking off a series of escalating alerts. This is really something. I mean, seriously. I mean, if it saves just one life, it has done its job and also the parents' job. Let's see. Kelly in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Glad to have you with us.
Hello, Kim. Thank you for taking my call.
My pleasure. What's going on?
So I'm an optician in a practice that sees a lot of kids with special needs. And the thought is if they could see better, then they may not be as scared of their world.
For sure. What a wonderful thing you're doing. That's fabulous.
Thank you. But by the time I see the kids, they are at their end. They're scared, they're tired, they're frustrated. They could be screaming, running around, hiding under a desk, whatever. So when we go to take the measurements for glasses, they're not having any part of that. But if we don't do the measurements accurately, then it doesn't matter how good the prescription is, the glasses are not going to help. So I would like to put together an app that they can watch, like they watch other things on their devices. And when their eyes hit a point, it reads their pupillary distance.
Oh, you know what? It's kind of like, I go to UCLA. Probably, It seems like once every 3 months, okay, because I had a corneal transplant.
Wow.
And my vision in my right eye was 2400, and now it's 2125.
Yay.
I know, and with a corrective lens, it's 2020.
Okay.
I mean, phenomenal. But one of the eye tests that they gave me was, and I don't know if you guys are using this either, but at UCLA, like I look and like there's a farmhouse. And there's like a cow and like, I don't know, something else, a wheelbarrow and this vision. And then that's how it starts to figure out what prescription that I need. Is that kind of what you're thinking? But they would be watching a cartoon or something.
Correct.
All right. this isn't an over-the-counter type of solution, as you know. I mean, there are websites where you can say, I want to have an app, and they'll give you a basic app. And most of these are not very sophisticated as the one that you're trying to develop. But there are resources to help you. And there are some apps that you might just want to try.
Okay.
Have you ever tried iMeasure?
No.
Okay. So iMeasure is for iOS. And then on Android, there's something called pupil distance. And I don't think this may give you a little bit of a start, but but if anything, I want you to see what's out there already, because this is not going to do what you're asking it to do. But what you might find is that you can contact the developers of this app and say, is there any accessibility? Are there any modifications that you can make that can accommodate my special needs patients?
Okay.
So again, that's iMeasure, and it's called pupil distance for frame selection. That's the other one. If you wanted to go like really geeky on this, Kelly, and I mean, if you're like, okay, I know I can do this and I can really help so many kids, because there you are, but there are children all over the world that could also benefit from this. And my sister has a school in Southern California where she only has special needs students, and it's one child per teacher. And so when you were talking about the kids running around under the desk and all that other stuff, I mean, I've been to her school. I know what they're doing, and it's hard. I mean, my sister, I call her, she's a saint. I tell her this all the time. You are like Saint Christine to me. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I just don't know how she does it. But anyway, there's something called software development kits. That's SDKs. And the SDKs are what companies put out there. Like they have a product, and they say, we want you to use our product. And so we're going to give you the software development kit around it so that you can develop your own product using our technology. Make sense?
Cool.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So here's where a couple of things might be interested, is that there's a company called Tobii, Tobii. Now, they make eye tracking technology that may help you, and then they put out a software development kit. And then there's another one called Gaze Cloud. That's Gaze Cloud. And so maybe what you could do is you could enlist because you're an optician. Okay, you got your own thing going on. You know what I mean? You got your own life, your own business, and stuff like that. And this is going to require like a full-time effort. So maybe what I would do is I'd go to the local computer engineering department.
Okay.
And say, this is what I got. I looked at these apps, and these apps do this, what I need. There's this eye tracking technology from Tobii or Gaze Cloud that does this, but it doesn't do exactly what I need. So how can we work together so that this way this becomes a project for the university, and we can somehow figure out how we can, I don't know, put it all together.
Okay.
I mean, because there are so many wonderful things that you can do with this. And, and you kind of touch a couple of buttons with me because you touch the special needs kids. And then and they must be so frustrated because they can't really vocalize what they see and what they can't see.
Right.
You and I can go, I don't see the farmhouse. Right.
Right. And they usually start about 2 or 3 years old. Mm-hmm. So they don't understand what you're saying or asking anyway.
Right. So, why don't you do do a little homework on this? Okay. But I want to figure out how I can help you. And I don't know what that means, because I don't, this is, like, there are things that I'm good at, and I'm good at putting projects together. I'm good at making money. I'm good at building a business. I mean, that's what I'm good at.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. But when it comes to knowing exactly, believe it or not, even though I have like a large optic nerve and I've got all this stuff going on in my eyeballs, I still look at it, I'm like, oh, I don't even know how all that works. Mm-hmm. And it's a miracle, really, how your body processes sight. It's just astounding to me. But
yes,
but you know exactly what it is that you need to have so that these kiddos can get good vision. And so go off and do some research and look at those apps and then let's chat again. Let's figure out, what it is and how we could take this to market. And, I'm not saying that I want to own your business. I want to help you help other people. That's what I really want to do. I think that makes sense. So, Kelly, thank you for your call today.
Introducing Meta Ray-Ban Display, the world's most advanced AI glasses. With a full color display built into the lens of the glasses, it's there when you need it and gone when you don't. Send and receive messages, translate or caption live conversations, collaborate with Meta AI, and more. Be one of the first to try Meta Ray-Ban Display. Visit meta.com/Meta Ray-Ban Display to book a demo and find your pair.
Hey, coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to talk about how you can say no to all the tracking ads. And then later on, yeah, I know, it's so annoying. It seems like every other day there's a new scam that's like spreading like wildfire throughout the country. This one involves your money, so you're going to definitely want to pay attention to this. All right, joining us right now on the big show is, of course, our amazing content queen, Ali Seligman. Hello there, Al.
Hi, Kim.
One of the things that I think you know this about me is that I'm not really into watching, well, I did watch Dexter, but I really like to watch like true stories.
Yeah, you're not much of a fiction kind of gal, which is funny because whenever we talk about this stuff, my favorite thing are like fantasy and sci-fi books. So we have different tastes for sure.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And so when you start looking at like, so what can you watch? Okay. Yeah. So I always deflect to like searching like, the best true stories out there. Yeah. So since we talk tech, of course, tell me if you've seen this one, like The Social Network.
Yeah. I've
okay. Everybody's seen that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Steve Jobs.
No, I never watched that.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
You should do that.
Should I? Okay.
Yes. It goes through how he got started, and you start seeing like some of his quirkiness, and then you start seeing like, I mean, this guy was truly a genius.
Yeah.
Okay. The Pirates of Silicon Valley.
Nope.
I don't think I saw this one either. It's from 1999. It says it's details the early days of like Apple and Microsoft with Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, coming head to head and not really being happy with each other. Okay, this one I did love. WeWork, the make and break of a $47 billion unicorn.
I did not watch it. That's going to be the common theme here. I did not watch it, but I remember you talking about how much you liked that one.
Well, I liked it because how do you lose $47 billion?
Somebody can do it.
I mean, how does that happen? Okay, and this is Adam Newman who did this. So he was going to have like these little work pods and places you can go. So he blew through $47 billion, and he's a weirdo.
Doesn't that just like give you a tummy ache thinking about that much money? Just poof.
But he just think about this. So the guy would walk around Manhattan barefoot.
Ew.
Gross. Okay. And he's, eccentric. You see, when somebody has money, you say they're eccentric. But when they don't have money, you say they're nuts. Okay. Yeah. So, but he blew through $47 billion. And you know what? He's raising billions again.
I know. And you'd think that all the people handing him money might have a moment of like, oh, are we sure this time? But there we go.
And then so you probably didn't see this one then either. The Dropout.
No, I didn't see
about
that.
Elizabeth Holmes.
No. Okay. How is that one?
The whole Theranos scandal.
That thing's crazy. I've certainly read a lot about that, and it is an absolutely wild story.
I don't know how you can look at yourself in the mirror knowing that people are taking health advice based on your product.
Yeah.
And your product is totally bogus.
I guess the only answer that I've got for you, Kim, is money.
Yeah, it's money. That's money.
Yeah. And, I think a lot of like the through lines of these stories, especially the ones that are like some crazy story of some eccentric person who, maybe it's how they made their money. Maybe it's how they built this huge business. There are always these huge stories, right? Really big tech companies. We want to know, who is Steve Jobs really? But I saw a preview for a new Netflix movie that's coming out next month in October. It's called The Remarkable Life of Ibelin. Ibelin. Okay, what the heck is that? I thought it was a town maybe at first. And I kid you not, you know me, I'm a crier. I cried during the preview. I cried reading about it. Yes, and I'm actually excited to see this. And I say that as not a documentary person, but I'm going to watch this one for sure. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story. We're going to go back to Oslo, Norway, and I want you to picture this little blonde boy, big smile, blonde hair. His name was Mats. And pretty early on in his life, his parents knew that there was something going on with him. And, it was kind of a weird mix of things. He loved going down the slide, but he would never walk up the stairs to the slide. They couldn't get him to do it. He didn't like to chase the other kids. He would just sit that out. He would do, when somebody who has trouble, usually someone older, when you put your knees on your hands to sit up or to stand up, the little boy was doing that. And so they knew something was strange.
Oh,
they took
really?
him to the doctor. Yeah. And it turns out he was born with something called Duchenne muscular dystrophy, which is a really awful muscular disease. It mostly impacts boys, and most of them don't live past 20. So little Mats, things got worse the older he got. He ended up in a wheelchair when he was about 7, I think. And then his parents saw, okay, this kid is bored. There's not a lot he can do. He got his first Game Boy. Loved it. Okay. Then we fast forward. Mats is 11, and they give him the password to the family computer, and he becomes a gamer. So just like any other, kid, teenager, when you can't, where's Mats? He's on his computer, of course. It was always this back and forth with the family. Go to bed. No, he's up all night playing World of Warcraft.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure, Kim, you know this game. If you've not heard of it before, World of Warcraft is absolutely enormous. I didn't realize it's 20 years old. It's one of the biggest multiplayer online games that's ever existed. So think about, you log on, you're not just playing by yourself. It's not like Mario. You are playing with all these other people around the world. And this movie is all about kind of the entire world and friendship and love that Mats had built for himself in this digital world. His parents had no idea.
I was just going to ask you that. Did the parents really know what was going on?
No, they didn't know about it until after he died. And you know how they found out? So they were having a gathering at their house the day before the funeral, and this random group of people show up. They knew all the family members. He didn't really have friends that were in town because he, didn't hang out with other kids. Sure. This random group of people showed up, and they said, hey, we're here for Mats. We're his friends. And so his family, they knew he played the game, but they didn't know this. They assumed it would be, he's just in his room shooting bad guys or doing whatever. No, these were his friends of like 10 years. And it's this, seriously, this made me cry. This beautiful story of connection, of someone who really was kind of trapped in his own body that didn't work the way he wanted it to, being able to just be free and have these relationships. So I'm really excited for it. It really looks like a good movie. I think it'll be a good one of those like heartwarming winter, get cozy, get yourself a drink. You know what I mean?
It just shows you that, like, we always talk about, it seems like, all the bad stuff.
I know.
That happens on the internet with AI and scammers and hackers and stalkers and thieves. And so it's nice to have like, oh, this is nice. This is good.
I know. It totally is. And it got me kind of thinking about, how, anytime we talk about the metaverse and going to live your life in the metaverse, it's like, okay, how lame. Who's going to want to do that?
But maybe you might want to. Maybe it's not that bad.
And maybe for some people, when the reality of your real life and your body and, whatever's happening with you health-wise, maybe it is a nice escape for people. And I think that's a pretty cool thing.
So what's the name of this again?
It is called The Remarkable Life of Eibelin. It won a bunch of stuff at Sundance, so good movie.
Okay, well, we'll have to check it out when it comes in October. Thanks for letting us know about it, Al.
Thanks, Kim.
That's pretty awesome. All right, Tim in Naperville, Illinois. Glad to have you with us.
Hi, Kim. How are you?
Great. How can I help you today, my man?
I have a question regarding some smishing text messages that I was getting on my Android Pixel 7 phone. They were the classic USPS, we have a package for you. Click here, give us all your information.
Of course.
And I'm a listener, so I'm not foolish enough to fall for that. But what was annoying to me was getting just the notify every day, because I try to limit how many notifies I get on my phone.
Yeah, for sure.
The message would go to my spam folder. The number would be blocked, but every day I'd get a call from a different number in the same country code, which happened to be Thailand. I think it was country code 63. So what I wanted to do to put an end to this game of whack-a-mole that I was playing with all the different numbers was block the entire country code.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't figure out a way to do that on the Android Messages app.
Well, inside the Android message map is that you can go into settings. And then there's spam protection. I'm not sure if they let you block an entire country. For that, you may need, in order to get like a third-party app like Call Blocker or Hiya, Hiya. But I'm really surprised that this is coming in on the Pixel 7 because, boy, I'll tell you, they normally do a bang-up job.
They correctly identify them as spam, and they do go to my spam folder. But because it was a different number every day, I would get a notify every day. And it's just like I limit my notifies. I want, to be notified for legitimate things that I need to pay attention to. But in this case, I trust the Android Messages app. They put them in the spam folder. I don't even want to know about those.
I know. I know. I mean, you could also set up Do Not Disturb mode, and this way it only allows messages from your contacts.
Okay.
And in that way, it would prevent notifications from unknown numbers, so you wouldn't be so annoyed all the time. But yeah, I mean, you think like there would be a way for us to just like make this garbage stop already. Again, in the Android app, they do a really good job. That's why I'm surprised. So again, go to messages, go to settings, and spam protection. Just follow the prompts. And if you can't block it by the country, then Hiya, Hiya, or take a look at Call Blocker. And Tim, thank you for your call today. Lila in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, welcome.
Well, I have a computer question. To start off, our family uses a Mac primarily, and we have a 16-year-old son that wants to be a pilot, and we found that the flight simulator packages that he's got don't work well on a Mac. So we bought a PC strictly for his piloting practice. Anyway, there's one program called Real Flight that he would like to connect to the internet, and I'm wondering, is there a way to connect just that program so that he's not out there on the web doing all kinds of stuff?
Let's just walk through this, and then I'm going to send you via email some additional information. Okay.
Oh, good.
Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to configure this machine to have two profiles. One is going to be the administrator, and one is going to be a standard user, because you're the mom and your son is just a standard user. So what you have is something called, there's a firewall there. And so what you can do is you can allow and block certain content on the firewall. You can say that none of the browsers can be used. You can block apps from accessing the internet. You really have the ability to do just about anything, any control, just about anything there. Now, the steps on how to do this are pretty, you can do it. I'm going to send you all the steps, but it's like you go into the control panel, you go to System Security, Windows Defender, Advanced Settings, and then you're going to block out conventions and outbound rules. See where I'm going like with all this? It's kind of like, but I'll write all this up for you. And so you're only going to allow Real Flight, and that's going to be under the outbound rules. And so the only thing that he'll be able to do on there is just allow this Real Flight program to access the internet. I think that's fabulous. Has he always wanted to be a pilot?
Maybe for about 3 years. He's in Civil Air Patrol, and we're headed that direction. So
that's great. And a friend of mine, she flies a jet. She's just this woman is just amazing. I mean, she is a single pilot, flies her own jet. I'm like, you're just bad. You know what I mean? You're just like you know what? You're just like Kick. I mean, she just does everything. You know. And I was in California, and she's, and so I was sitting at my desk. I felt something kick my chair, and I thought it was my 95-pound golden retriever. And I turned around, the dog's not there. And then it was the earthquake. And it was about like 50 miles from the house. And then my desk kind of like, I started swaying a little bit. And I thought because I just got back from a run, I didn't drink water. I'm like, oh my God, my blood pressure's so low. It's like, I'm like, no, it's an earthquake. So it's like, and so anyway, so I texted my friend and I said, Was that just me, or did I feel the earthquake? And she texted me back. She goes, "Oh, I was in my flight simulator. I thought I was going through turbulence." So anyway.
Oh my! Oh, funny.
So anyway, I'm going to put you on hold, Layla. Okay. I'm going to put you on hold, and then we're going to send you out all these steps. Now, if you need any help afterwards, I just want you to know that we're always here for you. And we can always lend a hand. But again, you're just going to work in some firewalls. We'll give you some links. And there's also some videos I think we can probably point you in a direction. But piece of cake, you got this. And thanks for your call. Hey, by the way, if you're just too shy to come on a big time show, you can still drop me your questions. The easiest place to do it is head over to the website. That's komando.com, Komando, komando.com. And there's a link at the top that says Ask Kim. So somebody reaches out to you on Facebook, Instagram, Nextdoor, or wherever saying, oh, invest just a small amount with us, say $500 or $200, and I'm going to show you how much money you can make in cryptocurrency. So you set up a crypto account, you get the password, and you watch your money grow every single day, and then you get a text. It's doing so good. Why don't you put more money in? And then you do. And then it goes up again, and then you put more money. Then you're like, oh, I think I want to withdraw some of this money out. And so you go ahead and try to take the money out. Then you find out that the balance is zero. Okay. The account was never real. It was only a simulation. It was pure bullion. That's right. And let me tell you, millions of people have fallen for this scam. And I don't want you to be one of them. So if somebody reaches out to you and says they can help you make money at crypto, don't answer them. Okay, that's the bottom line. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us. And don't forget, get my newsletter. You can sign up at getkim.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance. Business owners, meet Progressive Insurance. They make it easy to get discounts on commercial auto insurance and find coverages to grow with your business. Quote in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
Thanks for listening to The Kim Komando Show. Here's Hour 4.
I always like to kick things off with something fun and super interesting. And how about we start with a little trivia question? Are you ready? Okay, put on your thinking cap. Which movie do you think was the first ever sold as a DVD in the United States? Okay, think about that. Which movie was the first ever sold as a DVD? Was it Star Wars, E.T., or Twister? All right, here's a clue. It was set in Iowa. Okay, you know the answer. It's Twister. That's right. It was released on DVD. You know the year? 1997. Okay, but why Twister? Oh, it was those intense tornado scenes, the dynamic audio, and they say releasing it on DVD just showed off all the video and audio quality of this brand new format, which reminds me of a joke that you can tell the kids. Now, I can't promise you that they're not going to be groaning. Are you ready? Okay, did you hear that Rick Astley is really stingy with his Disney DVD collection? Yeah, he's going to share Toy Story, but he's never, ever going to give you up. Ooh, I know that was a bad one. And on that happy note, welcome. I'm Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you once again. And let me tell you, you're about ready to get more tech smarts because every single thing in our lives is now a tech thing. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top stations throughout the United States. And we're also streaming in your favorite radio app. Just go ahead and search for my last name, Komando. And I need 2 things from each and every one of you. Number 1, the best way for us to continue to grow the show is for you to just tell one friend. That's it. And number 2, tell me more what you'd like more of. You can drop me a question over at komando.com. Just hit that link that says Ask Kim. Alrighty then, every single day, I head down a list of over 35 different places looking for just the tech news that you need to know about. And here are the top 5 things that are happening right now. I'm going to start with cars. Yeah, not too many years ago, Americans look forward to Detroit's finest unveiling of their newest and sleekest. But we're living in a world now where not a lot of people want a brand new car, electric or gas. Get a load of this. The average age of a car in America is just over 12 and a half years. That's the oldest ever. One reason, of course, is inflation coupled with high interest rates. Yes, okay, that adds up to huge monthly payments. But it's not just that. There is a large group of Gen Zers who constitute what's being called new car deniers. Yeah, they just don't want a new car. It's not only the money. They don't like engines that shut down at stoplights. They don't want any touchscreens. They don't want a digitally connected car that exposes all their personal information to the Chinese, or worse, their insurance company, or maybe even the government. And because of all this new tech, a new car becomes outdated quickly. And they don't like that either. I hope that Detroit is listening because I am a total car gal. All right, moving on to number 2, AI chatbots. No matter which one, they only know, well, I guess if that's the right word, what it's read somewhere else. Or perhaps AI knows only what it's stolen or plagiarized. Now, you can bet that even though AI can pass a bar or medical exam, no one paid the writers or the authors of all the data it has absorbed. So, could it be that AI is guilty of the biggest data heist in history? Yes, we're rapidly reaching a point where AI has scanned every single shred of published material it can find. And what could be, I guess you'd call it the biggest David versus Goliath story. A number of artists have launched infringement lawsuits against the largest AI companies. I know. Good luck with that. But meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal reports that painters, photographers, and other artists who've just flocked to Instagram to gain visibility and maybe start selling some of their stuff, they're now fleeing. Why? To prevent the app's parent company, Meta, from using their art to train AI models for free. Okay, great move if you're one of them. Moving on to number 3, how many cameras are watching you at any given moment? Comparitech is a cybersecurity research company. They say that the average U.S. city has about 6 surveillance cameras per 1,000 people. Now, I want you to remember that. 6 cameras per 1,000 people. Now, if you think that's a lot, wait until you hear about Atlanta. Atlanta tops every other city in the United States when it comes to camera surveillance. 124 cameras per 1,000 people. Wow. Okay, so what makes Atlanta such a huge hotspot for surveillance? Well, it's all in part because of Atlanta law enforcement uses tech from a company called Fusus. It's a system that links everyday citizens' personal cameras into this big surveillance network. So say you have a camera at your place or your business. If you give permission to your local police to use it, they can access all nearby registered cameras to scope out the scene. Now, law enforcement agencies all around the country are now tapping into Fusus, including Illinois. It's supposed to make tracking down crime far easier. But, I have some questions when it comes to privacy. Okay, how does Fusus use AI? It doesn't use AI for facial recognition, but it's used to, here's an exact quote, recognize weapons, vehicles of interest, and etc. Ooh, I never like to see etc. I wonder where all that footage is going. I checked the FAQs on their site. No word on that. But let me know what you guys and gals think about this. All right, moving on to number 4, a story from Chicago. Marissa Garrod came back from a family vacation with her kids. A few days later, she got a notification on her iPhone. An Apple AirTag was totally following her. Marissa was driving at the time. She got a notification with an alert that said she could play a noise to find it. She stopped the car. She played the beep. And then she heard it coming from underneath her car. Yeah, it was there where she found an AirTag glued to the car's undercarriage. So Melissa went straight to the local police department. Good move. And shortly after that, she was able to figure out who had been stalking her and her family. It was somebody that she knew, and she knows that she's lucky. But thanks to Apple and Android's new update, it alerts you when an AirTag is following you. She was able to stop the stalking. But what if you don't have a phone that has an alert like this? Okay, and you still find an AirTag? Here's what I want you to do. Okay, no, I'm not saying put a tinfoil hat on, but it's pretty close. I want you to wrap the AirTag in aluminum foil, no gaps. That'll block the radio signal. So whoever is tracking you has no idea that they've been thwarted. Then call the police or go to the local police station. Apple will give law enforcement the info that they need about who registered the AirTag to help kickstart an investigation. And finally, this coming in at number 5. Okay, for so many years, the conventional wisdom was that using our smartphones or our tablets just before bed would keep us awake. But what if conventional wisdom is wrong? Experts claim that it's all the blue light. It all started with the National Institute of Health, or the NIH. But in reality, scientists say there's no real reason linking smartphone screens and iPads and tablets to sleep disturbances. In fact, 11 studies say that the blue light story is simply hogwash. Okay, so what's really going on is that we get so engrossed with what we're reading or watching on these screens that we simply just cannot put it down to get a good night's rest. So in short, we're just staying up way too late. So tonight, turn off all the tablets and screens and just go to sleep. Now, Kim Komando Today is a podcast that you can get wherever you get your podcast. Just search for Kim Komando Today. Makes sense, right? Komando. But if you're more into the visual effect, then you can watch us do Kim Komando Today Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, which is 2:30 p.m. on the East Coast. If you're in the middle of the country, you got to figure out the math yourself. But again, that's youtube.com/Kim Komando. You can watch it live or on demand. Again, youtube.com/Kim Komando. And how about we get started with Shauna in Atlanta, Georgia?
My question is, my mom, sister, and I have started a women's clothing boutique, and we've been in business almost 7 years. And we just had a lot of ups and downs in those years, and we're now in some debt. So we're just trying to figure out how we can get out of debt and start making a profit, especially after 7 years, or if we should close the business. Like, we're just at that crossroads right now.
And so in that 7 years, has the business grown overall?
Yes. At the beginning, with COVID, actually COVID year was our biggest year.
Was it?
But since then, it seems like it's just gone down.
Is it? So are you just selling it through your site?
We sell through our site. We also do pop-up shops, and we also have, we're in a antique store. We have a booth inside the antique store.
Okay.
So we can actually send someone there. I know it's kind of weird in an antique store.
Hey,
but
you know what? So what kind of,
it's our local.
What's the gist of the clothing? Is it vintage or?
No, it's mostly for working women between the ages of 30 and 60, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. And then do you sell your stuff on Amazon or on Etsy or anything like that?
No, the fees are just so high. We were doing eBay because we have our website through Shopify, and we were doing eBay through there, and the fees were just too much. But
here's the deal, is that if you are at least making some money outside the fees, then any dollar is a good dollar, right? You may not be necessarily making all the money as you would other places, but if you could set up shop on Amazon and Etsy, is that you have the potential of gaining a new customer. And then once you gain the new customer, that's when you really get into some email marketing. Are you doing any type of email marketing?
Yes. Yeah, we do have a newsletter that we send out, try to at least once a month.
Okay.
We do have a social media person. She's kind of expensive, but she does our website as well.
There's something that's going on right now in the world, and I know you know about it. It's called artificial intelligence. Yes. And I will tell you that our web traffic is going down. Okay. And web traffic around the globe is going down because people are not using search sites anymore. I mean, think about it.
Oh, that's true.
Do you really go to Google as much as you used to?
No.
Okay. And so it's not just you, it's everybody. And it's a big fundamental shift on how we do business and how we buy things. And that's why I was thinking, put all your stuff up on Amazon. Put all your stuff up on Etsy, because people are still going there to buy things.
Right.
And with social media, there's nothing like a good, crazy viral video.
Right.
That can garner attention. Now, whether or not it garners sales is a whole nother issue.
Right. I do reels all the time, and I put those on.
That's
I try to do it once a day. I put them on.
Are they getting any views?
Yes.
Okay. How many views are you getting?
Yep. Probably, I would say 300 to 500 views. Not a lot, but
okay. Well, that's good.
It's actually grown.
No,
yeah.
That's good. And keep doing that. Keep doing that. And, and of course, the crazier the reels, the more attention they get.
Okay.
And so it's always hard to sell something in a reel because it's so short, right?
Right.
And so that's where I'm glad you're doing email. You might want to bump that up to more than once a month, especially if you can have any type of discount, sales, anything that you can boost the sales.
Yeah, it seems like that's the only thing they respond to is the sale emails.
Exactly. People want a deal. Yeah. They do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at what we call here CTAs, calls to actions in the newsletters, is that, there's like today it says save 60%. Okay. If we say show our sponsors some love to help keep us in business, people don't click. It's like, okay.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
But if they can save some money, that becomes, something that they're going to want. Now, as far as your finances and your products, I want you to look at your products and identify what are the top selling products. And then use ChatGPT and say, these are my top selling products. What are complementary products with this? Or what if somebody bought this? What else would they want to buy? I have found great success in that, picking out products to put in our newsletters from Amazon.
Okay.
And so, because what happens is that with you and probably your mom and your sister is that you guys are so close to this store that it's kind of hard because you can't see outside of it. So,
exactly.
So if you can get on AI and say, be a marketing expert, be a product expert, and these are my top sellers. This is who I'm trying to target. This is it. What else? What could be complementary to these type of things? And you might find it has some answers. Okay, so 30 grand in debt. Are you guys paying yourself salaries?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So I'm going to say
our gas money.
Okay.
We just use,
Okay. So with 30,000, is there any way you could reduce the inventory, reduce the rent, any costs?
Really, the only thing would be inventory. The rent has gone up where we are, of course, and they've moved 3 times. So a lot of people aren't finding their new location. I think that's another problem. So we're just constantly posting on Facebook to say where we are. But I think that's the biggest problem. A lot of people haven't found their new place.
Now, you can also target people on Facebook ads. Have you done that? You tried
Not yet, because we don't really know how to do them. I know you have to know exactly how to do them.
Then
do it.
It might be interesting for you to also take a look at local radio. It's very affordable. Very affordable.
Okay.
At least to get people there. But let's go back to the debt that you have. I would go to whoever the landlord is and say, listen, I'm in debt. I don't want to lose my store. What can you do to help me out? And anybody who you owe money to, even the cable company, okay? Anybody. Okay. And say, even your social media manager, say, I need to cut some costs here. What can we reduce your hours? You'll be amazed at how many people that will say, you know what, I can do that. Let me help out. Let me help you.
Okay.
And let me tell you also a secret that even today I go to cable companies and lawyers and I don't have a landlord anymore, but anybody, accountants, no matter who it is, to say, what can we do to reduce costs because they're getting out of line? And a financial advisor, a business, whoever it is, look at Shopify and even call them up and say, listen, we need to cut costs here. Because here's the thing that you have to remember, Shauna, is that it's always easier to keep a current customer than to go find a new customer.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So they're going to want to keep you. So, so think about what else your social media manager could be doing. Look at your biggest and nearest competitor. Look at their website, look at their social media profile, see how they're doing it. See what they're doing. Set up a store on Amazon, Etsy. If you can make just a few more dollars, that's another dollar in your pocket that you can go ahead and start paying down that debt. Of course, you can always look at small business loans and grants and crowdfunding, but I think what we want to do is just focus now. Let's increase sales, decrease costs, and let's get ourselves positioned and primed for Q4 because that's when you're going to make all the money. And don't forget, you can email these people more than once a month. I'd say once a week. Give them a special, give them a deal. Make them come down for a free hot dog or whatever it may be. So, Shauna, think about all that. If you need any more help, I'm right here for you. Okay, I mentioned radio commercials. So let me tell you more. Endorsement radio. That's when the host, someone like me, tells you about his or her experience with a product, or in your case, your store. Really powerful. There's a reason why it's been working since the 1940s. So, Shauna, you're in WSB radio and TV territory. Now, I just wonder if you get the host to shop your store, then wear your clothes, and then talk about how great the experience is and how wonderful and beautiful they look. Just give a call out to the WSB sales department or do it online, just fill out a form. I think this could be a total home run for you, a total difference in your business. All right, let's switch gears and let's talk about Amazon Alexa and how you can use them as an intercom system. You can build your own, like those old school ones, but you need a few Amazon Echoes. The $60 Echo Dot, it has a built-in clock. And the Echoes have to be linked to the same Amazon or Amazon household account, and also on the same Wi-Fi network. And then once you have all that, open up the Alexa app and then tap devices. You're going to see all your speakers. And that's where you're going to give them names like kitchen or living room or bedroom. Then to just start a direct convo with another room, just say, Alexa, drop in on whatever the name of that room is. And then for whole house announcements like, we're going now, kids, you better get to the car, just say, Alexa, announce, followed by your message, and then every device is going to broadcast that. Yes, you have a futuristic intercom system right there in your house. All right, if you think that you just found the love of your life online, the person that you are going to live out to every sunset and sunrise. Well, I don't mean to burst your bubble, but there are a lot of scammers online. So I've got 4 telltale signs that the scammers are using to make you fall in love. And then later on, how the airlines are changing and what they're doing with all of your data. And before we get to that and all of your phone calls, let's talk about your phone number. It seems like everyone nowadays wants your cell phone number, from online shops to people that you just don't want to give it out to. So that's why you need a second phone number. Now, what this means is that you don't have to carry like a second phone, because that would be, what a nightmare. But what I want you to do is get a free disposable phone number from Google Voice. Now, your Google Voice number lets you send text messages, phone calls, you can listen to voicemails, even transcribe voicemails and then send it to your email. So using the app, your Google Voice number rings on your existing phone. Now, when you sign up, you can even pick your own area code. A friend of mine in Phoenix has a Washington, D.C. area code. So he says, oh, this is going to impress a lot of people. He can say, just call my Washington, D.C. office, please. Oh my gosh, he's a little funny like that. Anyway, head to voice.google.com. Once again, that's voice.google.com. Now, you do need to link your primary phone number to your Google Voice account, but now you can hand out your second phone number to marketing companies, creeps, folks you don't really know enough to give your real phone number to. Maybe you're selling something online. You get my gist. Once again, that address is voice.google.com. All right, let's see. Sue in Raleigh, North Carolina. Glad to have you on board with us.
Oh, I'm excited. From one of your newsletters, which I read every day, you had something about a guest network for your different things that you have in your house, rather than putting it through the same network. Now, I have an Asus RT AC5300. It's about 6 years old, but it seems to still work really well. But I have CASA, which is the TP-Link units for turning on lights on and off, and Blink. I have 10 units on the Blink, and I have 5 Alexa units on.
Well, you know what? You're just wired and fired over there, Sue. That's awesome.
I know. At one time, I was an early adopter of everything, and that's what happened is I'm, getting older and the brain's not working as well. And
no, I don't know. You know what? You can use that excuse on somebody else. Okay, it's not. I'm not falling for this crap. I mean, I'm older, Kim, and I can't think, and my memory's gone, and I've got 22 devices on my network. No, doesn't go together. Let me tell you what you need. First of all, a router that's 6 years old, too old. Okay. Probably isn't getting the right firmware updates anymore. You can try to see if it does. So the whole idea with the guest network is that we're going to put all your Internet of Things on a separate network so that if, in fact, one of them gets hacked, it doesn't get to your primary network and all your important files that are on that network. So I'm going to send you a link to the newer router that will work with everything that you have. And it also has a guest network. And, we're on Wi-Fi 6 now. I don't know what you're on, but it's probably not there anymore. Now, did you say you had a TP-Link? Did you have TP-Link?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what I want you to do is, Maddie, I know you're screening today. Give Sue the link to that TP-Link AX5400. That's the model number. TP-Link AX5400. Well, I want you to get a 5400. It's a Wi-Fi 6 router. And it's about, it's about $600 or, no, not $600. I'm sorry. It's about $160. And so it's got USB ports for media sharing. It's got some AV parental controls are free. But I like that it will work with all your other existing TP-Links. 6 years on a router, folks. Time to like turn it in and get a new one, especially if it's not getting any more firmware updates. And Sue, thank you for your call. All right. You're talking to a new guy or gal online. It's fantastic. Oh, you have so much in common. You are just falling head over heels. Well, it could just be a classic romance scam. Now, romance scammers are pretty predictable, and let's break down their playbook. Number one, they move way too fast. And the goal is to make you feel like you're in a fairy tale and to get you hooked. Number two, nonstop compliments. Oh, you're so wonderful. You're so incredible. You're so beautiful. I can envision my life with you forever. Maybe not. Three, speaking of the future, they do paint a dreamy future together. It's all about getting you invested into the fantasy. And number 4, suddenly they're in a crisis. They lost their job. They're stuck in a foreign country. They want to tug at your heartstrings, and then they ask for money, promising it's just a loan, just a loan. Okay, here's a complete spoiler. You're not going to get the money back. You aren't. So keep your wits about you and do not get taken. All right, Adam in Battle Creek, Michigan. Hi there, Adam.
All right. Well, I'm getting into basically doing 3D modeling for 3D printers as well as certain CAD machines, which basically carve an object out of, it uses like a drilling system that carves an object out of a material, which can vary from metal to wood and as well as other objects. And I'm trying to learn how to do 3D, to design a 3D image, and it is really hard to learn and to really get good at it to be able to make what you want. So I was hoping that there was AI software where I could describe what I'm wanting. Like say, let's just say I'm trying to make a Halloween of a human skeleton. You know, it would be able to, you know, make that. Hey, let's make it, you know, so big. You know, or, you know, realistic human foot, you know, go through the details. You know, I want to make a birdhouse, you know, whatever object that I try to want to make, and have the AI help basically create the object and then help me do the necessary alterations to it to suit my needs.
Yeah, you can do that. It's. I don't think the technology is quite what you're saying. Meaning like I can just type in what I want and then bingo, bango, it's just going to magically appear. I mean, if you look at where we are at with creating just regular images using AI, have you tried that at ChatGPT yet?
No, I have not messed around with any of the AIs at all.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, what I'm trying to do is more or less 3D model.
Oh, yeah. Well, what I'm saying is that if you had tried it, okay, and if you go like, if you go to ChatGPT, and if you look at the latest model, which is, say, ChatGPT-4o, O stands for Omni, and then you just type in a prompt what you want. Say, draw me a picture, because I did this recently for our free newsletter. Draw me a picture of 2 knights that are checking into a hotel, and put in the phrase, "We need a room for 2 nights." Kind of like, you know, like a pun type of thing. Okay. Well, it's not that good. As a matter of fact, it can't spell. It took me like probably 4 or 5 times just to get that image. So what I'm trying to say is that, you know, what we're going to do is now you want AI that can hardly basically do a 1-dimensional image. And then you wanted to create a 3D model just by you saying, create a skeleton for Halloween and make it 14.5 inches tall and 3 inches wide, or whatever it may be, right? But I'm not saying that you shouldn't try it, because it's, you know, where we are right now is in the infancy. And so it seems like every time the AI algorithm and model gets an update, it's a fundamental update. It's not just like a little tiny update. It's like a monumental one. And so there's one tool that you might want to check out. Actually, there's several, but one is called Meshy. It's MESHY. Meshy's free, so it's not going to cost you anything to do it, to play around in it.
I've been working with Blender as what I've been working with as of late, which is also free.
Yes, and Meshy actually integrates with Blender pretty well. So what you're going to be able to actually tie the two together. But it is an AI-powered 3D modeling tool. It does the meshes and renders and all that other great stuff, and it's pretty accurate. But I just don't know if it's quite there yet, where we're talking about like, make me this, and I'm going to sit back and you're going to do all the hard work. If you have some other time and maybe some money on hand, Autodesk has something called Fusion 360 that's been getting a lot of good press lately, as well as something called Rhino 7 with Grasshopper. And those are the two that I've heard a lot about. So try Meshy, because as I said, it does integrate with Blender, and you're already doing that. Autodesk Fusion 360 and then Rhino with Grasshopper. I know I don't name these things, I just talk about them, but don't be disappointed if it doesn't do exactly everything that you want to do at the level that you want it. Because again, we're just not quite there yet with AI. AI is growing like crazy. And every iteration, like I said, it just keeps getting better and better. Adam, thank you for your call today. Oh, another call from Michigan. James in Traverse City, Michigan.
Well, I'm fairly new to the digital phone world, and a lot of things are puzzling to me, which are probably very self-evident to people such as yourself who are much more knowledgeable about this. I follow a lot of things on Facebook, and every now and then things pop up. I think they're trying to tell you how to look for hidden cameras in hotel rooms.
Okay.
There was one just recently. You take a quarter, put it in a wooden clothespin, run it underwater, and then run it along the edge of the mirror. And it says, this is why I don't trust hotels. But nothing has changed or popped up or shown. I have no idea what they're looking for, or how do you know if you found it? Or...
Well, these are basically videos that are made by anybody who can make a video, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to have any type of expertise, any type of background, because everybody has a phone and they have an idea, and they then become what's called content creators. The content creators make money by the number of people who actually watch, say, a short on YouTube that ends up on Facebook and everywhere else. And the whole idea is to garner your attention, normally using 3 different MOs. Fear, sex, or greed. Okay. And because those are going back to Madison Avenue days of Mad Men, that those are the 3 premises that can sell anything to just about anybody. So with the mirror, what they're saying is that maybe there's a 2-way mirror in that hotel room. The fact is that you're probably, unless you're staying at some skanky hotel on, that type of that strip at that part of town, I'm not sure if it's going to have a hidden mirror. But most of these videos are done so that this way maybe you can learn something. And some of them are really good. Don't get me wrong. Some of them, you can sit back and go, yeah, you know what? If I am looking for a hidden camera, then I need to get an RF detector. I need to turn off all the lights. I need to look for any type of reflections, any type of blinking lights. And, the idea of looking at outlets and remote controls and everything, because today's computer chips can be so small that you can hide them in just about anything. So a lot of the reels are done for education. Some of the shorts or reels, whatever you want to call them, are done for pranks, make people laugh, to catch a reaction from somebody. Then there are also, the innocent ones where, girls are putting on makeup and women are dressing up like they were back in the 1980s, and they're singing and they're dancing to their favorite 80s tunes, right? And so that's really what the videos are about. Now, if you're wondering if a video is ever legit or anything like that, that's really when you start looking at the comments. And in the comments, you'll see people who said, oh, this is baloney, it doesn't work, and here's why it doesn't work. And if you're ever wondering the legitimacy of, say, something that you see in a reel, I'll tell you a really great place to go is Reddit. You go to reddit.com, and in that search box, you just use a few words that describe that video. You can even use that content creator's name or handle, whatever they're using online. And I guarantee you that somebody on Reddit is having some discussion about that person. So hopefully that helps you out. And welcome to the new world. Yes, where everybody can be an expert on just about anything. I just love to get your phone calls. And if you're ever too shy to come on the show, I get that. So here's where you can leave me your questions. Commando.com. And then there's a big old button that says Ask Kim. You fill that form out. And if you want, we can schedule a time for you to actually have a conversation with me. And I do read every single note that you send me, every single one. Again, that's commando.com with a K, Komando, commando.com. And then there's a link at the top that says Ask Kim. Okay, what's the most invasive thing that could happen the next time you're sitting on an airplane and it's not the person in front of you just reclining, or it's not maybe some screaming baby at the next row over. It's data gathering. Yes, you may not realize that airlines are collecting and tracking your data. I'm talking about, of course, your booking details, your flight, your seat number, your name, your email, your phone number, and your passport are given, as is the weight of your bag. And depending on the airline, your weight. Yes, some airlines are actually weighing passengers now. Now, what happens if you use the onboard Wi-Fi? Of course, you're going to pay for that, but they're going to track the sites that you visit, what you search for, the apps that you use, and even more is being monitored. Other things that the airlines are collecting on you, I know you're not going to believe this, what you drink or eat, and how often your beverage is empty. Also, your flight history, any complaints to see if you're a good passenger or not, what movies you like to watch, and some in-flight entertainment. So why so focused on flyer data? It's all about the cold, hard cash. It's another way that any company will just repackage all of our data and then just sell it to who knows who. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us. And don't forget, get my newsletter. You can sign up at getkim.com.